Yeah.
Yes, take 3. Welcome to the ShrimpBackPodcast. We are your hosts. I am O Abnormal. She is...
I'm Sabrina.
Are you?
Sorry, I thought we
Wait.
would be adding the
Yeah,
we're
the
keeping it
social
fine.
media.
Yeah, this
Not
works.
We're adding
this works.
the like where you can find me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are
so-
you, stranger?
Oh, me. I'm Mao. Nice to meet you.
Are you?
And yeah,
Oh,
where,
awesome.
where can we find you, O? On social media.
You can find me anywhere on the internet as O Abnormal or Obsidian Abnormal. But just look for O Abnormal.
And you can
you'll know
find
because
me-
you see the bald guy. You know,
Yeah.
there are others.
Yeah.
Kratos.
I don't think
That's
he
my
goes by O
go-to
Abnormal.
bearded
Oh,
bald guy.
okay, cool.
Besides
I'm
you.
okay with that.
And Dan. That's
Wait,
like
Dan's
the 3.
bald? I didn't know this. Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I'll have to show you a picture next time.
'Cause
Anyway, you can find
yeah.
me anywhere as Sabrina Brady Art. Anywhere there are art socials.
Awesome. And you can find me as Mao Draws pretty much everywhere. Yeah. And I have my water bottle. No orange juice today. What do you guys have today for mugs and stuff?
Oh, Sabrina doesn't have a mug.
I forgot.
Sabrina doesn't have a
Today
mug.
was a lot.
Why?
She is doing the podcast today with spit.
Ew.
I have a little plant waterer thingy. Does that count? It's kind of like a little water bottle. It's
Doesn't
just
look
chilling
like there's
here.
any water in there.
Shh, there's not.
Drink from it.
I was trying to just
Oh.
be included.
I have my same, my same chrome sippy cup.
You should get a new one.
Why?
Just another one for the podcast. We're all doing. I tried getting. That's why I don't have orange juice today. I wanted to show something different for our viewers.
Oh, but that is such a lame water bottle. I'd rather show nothing.
It's not lame. It has like a grip here where I can it doesn't slip,
Where
and I
you
can.
can grip it.
Is this a problem for is your water bottle slipping out of your hands a problem for you?
Yeah, and it has like a texture, and I can put this.
I don't care what sexual
High
stuff you're doing with your
technology.
water bottle, Mo. I don't need to know that.
Okay.
I
Oh,
don't
tell
need
us
to know
what the.
what dirty stuff.
No, tell us what the
What is
episode
today's
is
topic?
about. Yeah.
Today's episode is about studying. It's about studying art, making time to study, and how to continue your studies and how to study.
Great.
So
It
today's
doesn't just stop after school.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. If you go to school.
So,
A lot of
so
people
today's
seem to
topic
think
is
that
about
that's it.
homework.
Kinda self-inflicted homework.
Yeah.
Okay, so without going too much into it, because that's not today's topic. That will be another day's topic. But let's briefly touch about what formal studies each one of us has before we go into the topic of studying art. So what formal study do you have, Sabrina?
Just the 4 years of college. I did take some AP classes in high school, which I don't know if that crosses over into other cultures, but AP in
Does not.
Americas is basically taking college credit courses when you're in high school. But you don't just outright get the credit, you have to take like a test at the end. So for my AP courses in high school, I had to submit a portfolio at the end, and then they graded it. And if they graded it high enough, I could get the credit, and that would transfer over into college. So that was a little bit of both.
Do you
And
have
then
that
4
weird
years.
American thing, that weird American thing that you have like a major and a minor and stuff like that?
Yes, but I didn't take a minor. I just majored in animation.
I didn't know you could just not take a minor. I thought it was mandatory.
Yeah, it's based on the credits that you took. So if you took, say, your major, you had to get 18 credits in so and so and so and so to qualify as a major. But if you took 7 credits in so and so and so and so, that's a minor. For an example. So you could minor in 5 different things if you wanted to fill your
So
stuff
you
with
can't do the annoying American thing of claiming that you have a minor in something to win an argument? like
They
most
do that?
You
Americans
could,
do.
but no one's gonna take you. all
I
that
took a minor
seriously.
in American literature,
like,
therefore I.
Wait,
the
but
joke.
I do have a
The joke.
question about it.
Yeah.
Can you choose like something that's like not related to your career?
That's
really?
the joke. That's
Oh.
exactly what I was about to
Yeah.
bring up. Is that
Okay.
most people will take it. The joke is underwater basket weaving. So you minor in underwater basket weaving is the
Oh,
thing, and your major is actually what you go to school for.
okay.
So you have a degree in animation.
Animation. That's all I got.
Hmm.
What about
Oh.
you guys?
Only that. So what about you, Ma? What did you study?
I studied graphic design, so I think that counts as like just college degree, a what's it called?
A bachelor's.
Yeah.
In the US, that would be a bachelor's degree. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, does your bachelor's though, is it called like of fine arts and then you specialized in
No.
graphic design?
No.
Or
No.
is your degree bachelor's of graphic design?
Yeah.
Like, how does it work?
Degree, no, actually, the degrees here, and I'm sorry to take this over Mao, because
go
first of
ahead.
all, I was Mao's teacher. Second, I am a professor at the university that Mao went to.
Yeah.
No, your degree here says professional. So Mao's degree says profesional en diseño gráfico.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I like that more. Yeah, my
Yeah.
degree just says Bachelor's of Fine Arts. It says nowhere on it animation. It's because that's
no,
the
this
degree
is-
you get, and your
Mhm.
major is what you studied. That's the
Mhm.
And
difference.
by the way, I studied the
Okay.
same thing as Mao, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
also a professional in graphic design.
Yep.
And ours took 5 years, although nowadays they only take 4 years.
Mhm.
Yep.
They changed that, but when we did it, it took 5 years.
Even
That's
though
nice.
it's even more expensive now. They shortened it, but it's
Yeah,
more
it's even-
expensive. Yeah.
No, and I don't know if Mao did you do it in 5 years? Oh,
No, I did it in 5.5 years.
okay.
That's a long time.
Yep.
I don't.
I know.
I was done by like year 3. I can't imagine doing another 2 more.
Yep.
So anyway, that was just a brief thing to say. Okay, like we studied this. That's a
Yes,
formal
we
education.
have degrees. We aren't one of those folks out there, because you absolutely can have a career in art without a degree, but all 3 of us come from a place of having them. So
Yes.
that's the big
Because
thing.
art is a skill-based profession. Basically, you get hired and you get work based on your skill, not on your degree.
Yeah.
I've known so many artists that work at very high levels that have degrees in whatever. Like for some reason, I know a lot of psychologists and a lot of nurses that work in art.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Man, nursing would pay
Sean
more,
Koss, Sean Koss, for example, from By Any Means Necessary. He's a nurse.
Oh.
He's a nurse, and he still
Cool.
works as a. Well, I don't know if he's doing it because, Any Means Necessary really kind of grew and blew up, and it's like a huge company now. But I like up until a couple of years ago, at least, he was still occasionally just going and working as a nurse, not because he needed to, just because he really, really likes being a nurse. So he would still go do it every now and then, even though he had his career in art. So yeah. But anyway, that's there. Okay. So now from there, like that's like, okay, so we graduated, and we've already spoken in past episodes about our work and what we do and how we got here and all that kind of stuff. But now let's talk about from that point, or even before that point, to where we are now. What have you studied, but now informally? Of course, relating to art. I mean, if you took a French class, who cares?
And this is like, we're talking about the difference too between, like, I am sitting down to learn a skill or to evolve and level up a specific part of your work or your work as a whole, because we're always practicing, right? We're not talking about studying as if like, oh, I drew for today, so I got my practice in. It's like focused. I am learning.
Okay, so let's establish 3 kinds of education, basic, right? So one is formal education, which I think we already covered. So the other one is going to be informal education, but still like guided courses in an institute, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
And then there's just self education. The one that you do by yourself. So let's cover that second one first. Courses and classes that you've taken and all that kind of stuff, but not formal, informal.
Yeah. I mostly, oh gosh, I can't remember the site. It was like Udemy?
Yeah,
maybe?
Udemy.
Yeah.
Udemy.
I took a lot of animation courses on there when I was trying to learn Toon Boom, because they didn't teach us Toon Boom in college. And it was when I was still trying to get animation jobs with my degree right after graduating, and I saw most of them.
I have to ask, I'm sorry, but this is out of curiosity. Is Toon Boom still...
Oh, it's the number one used thing in
it is
television animation, which is what I thought my 2D track would take me. Television.
Okay.
But so I took a lot of courses through there and still wasn't really seeing the progress that I wanted, because animation, frustratingly so, takes just too dang long. Yeah. To get a actual portfolio piece that you can show on your stuff, you have to sink a lot of hours into. And I was getting burnt out. So I kind of stopped that and went more, I'm having more fun with painting. I'm going to stick with the painting route, less animation. And then didn't have self-study stuff, or that formal, not formal study, guided education until you brought up the Nathan Fox courses. Course, I say courses lightly. He doesn't teach them live. You just go through it. That sets you up for a whole month, and you do a day. I did his daily painting course, and loved that. Absolutely loved it. I am definitely going to be taking more of those. I just got swamped with work and really didn't look back. But I went in to that kind of with the wrong mindset, and then came out of it. I don't know how to put this. I went in wanting to... I went in wanting to just use it as a prompt class. Give me something to draw because I don't want to think about it. And realized on the 4th or 5th day that I'm this isn't me learning anything. I am just using it as a prompt, and I'm not actually digesting what he's saying. So I stopped posting what I was doing on social media, posting my everyday drawings that I was doing in his class, and I kept it for myself. I'm going to study. No one else is going to see these, so I don't have to have that little thing in the back of my mind going I got to make this pretty because I'm going to show this on social media.
Yeah.
I let that go. I let it go entirely, just took what he said to heart, and loved every moment from it from then on. And I have my whole folder of all of my environments that I'm never going to show because I want those to be my... maybe I'll show you guys someday, but they're not going to grace my Instagram like I thought I was going to do with that course. I was if I do this course and I'll post everything that I learned every day on social media, it just didn't feel right anymore. And I was all right, I'm going to make it internal, and I learned a lot, and I loved that course. So I can't say enough about Nathan Fox. I kind of have a little crush.
Doesn't he have by the way, he's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's
so nice.
He's the nicest guy.
If he did live mentorships, I would jump on that in a heartbeat.
Doesn't he have the most soothing voice?
It's
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's all well, okay. I can't. He was very tall to me when I met him. But then again, I'm quite short. So maybe he's not that tall, but at least to me he was towering over me.
And his course, what I liked about it the most was he had tips and tricks that actually applied things. It wasn't just if you paint a tree this way, every YouTube video out there, you're going to get famous. This is how you draw trees and get a job. It wasn't like that. He actually had
he's
useful
an amazing
things.
Teacher. He's a really good teacher.
There's slight bluish glow around every tree. Never heard that one before. Started doing that in my work, and it's just beautiful. It's perfect. Thank you.
C'est magnifique.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Senor
other than
Fox.
that, though, this is the
I don't know what that
only
accent is.
2 places that I have tried, but I'm still young, budding artist. I don't have. Well, it's unlike you.
What are you
Not to
insinuating,
call
Sabrina?
you old here.
Oh shit! You
Ooh,
went there.
oh, wow.
Oh wow. Okay,
Damn.
we're doing
I
this
said I'm
then.
not
Okay.
calling you old, but you have a lot more years under your belt to fill out. Like
So old, basically.
Yeah.
So old.
No.
Right?
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there
Yeah.
to where I've taken this
Oh,
course.
one day you're
this
gonna be
course,
this old, yeah, for sure. And you wish you would look this good.
Oh, I do, actually. Yes. If I was, yes.
Yeah.
10 years from now.
So, okay, Mao, what about you?
Oh, okay. But I thought, okay, anyways, no. Yeah, me. No, I wanted to ask Sabrina about, because of the courses that you have been taking, will you mention those later, or like that that you want to take in the future, or do you have any at the moment in sight?
I definitely want to take more
why
on
don't we-
school.
Why don't we
wanna
do
sound
a
like-
section like
Okay,
on
okay.
courses that we plan to take? Like after
Yeah,
we-
okay. Yeah, because I was
Okay.
just curious, but okay. Yeah, what I did, going back. After graduating university, I took 2 courses in illustration. One, I don't know if it even counts, but I guess it does, was a workshop by the university taught by Omar Francia, and some 2 teachers more from the
Oh,
university.
shit.
And it was
I
for a
remember
week.
that.
Yeah, and it
doesn't count. No.
It doesn't? Okay. Yeah.
No, it was not good, dude.
I know. That's why I'm asking if it counts, because it was like concept art for something.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
And no, and I'll say this, like I can say this just like I don't have to feel bad about it because I was teaching it. Actually, maybe I should feel bad about that. But no, dude, that was not good. But still, like talk about it. Talk.
Okay, sure. That was a workshop for concept art. I don't remember for what, just concept art. And it was like from the university, they got like the special guest Omar Francia from Argentina to come and teach us about concept art for, I don't know, I don't even remember what it was. It was something like, concept art, illustration. And I remember
well,
it was...
I can tell you what it was. So that's something universities do, that they'll bring in like a guest. They can't have like the poor guest just teach a class for a week. Like they'll kill him. Yeah. So what they do is they grab like whatever they got to sort of complement the course. So that's where I came in, right? So Omar Francia, great guy. Yeah. He's an artist from Argentina. He doesn't live in Argentina anymore. He lives in the US.
Yeah, okay.
He is a pro comic artist. He got famous working with DC. He did some Batman stuff. And by the time he came here, he had also worked in the Mass Effect comic and in Star Wars. Also the comics. He's a comic artist. They brought him for a course in concept art, which, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he technically did concept art for like the comics.
Yeah.
You know? But he's a comic artist. He is like hardcore a comic artist. But they brought him for concept art, and then they brought in another 2 teachers, including me, to just sort of complement and like kind of fill out space during that week. And that was not a good course.
No, it was fun though. I do remember having a good week. Yeah. The second time they did it, I can't remember the name of the special guest that time. He was from the US. I can't remember his name. Also a comic artist. You were there too. I have pictures.
I was there?
I
remember. With Patrick Ballesteros.
Yes.
Nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Patrick, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy. Like that is like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Patrick
Yeah.
Ballesteros. He is famous for doing like little kid versions of superheroes.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he has like a series. I think it's called like 1 cent heroes or something cent heroes and stuff like that. And he does like little illustrations that are like little kiddie versions of superheroes and no, it's like super cute stuff.
Yep. It was great too.
Oh
But
man, I forgot
that
about
one,
that.
yeah, that one was a little more chaotic because the first one they did a couple of classes at the university and the last 2 or 3 classes at Comic Con here in Medellin. But then the next year when they did that one with Patrick, the classes were only at Comic Con and it was a disaster. I remember it being like super unorganized.
But
So,
by the way, when Mao says Comic Con, he means Colombia Comic Con.
yeah. Yeah.
Actually, do you remember like that one with Patrick Ballesteros was so chaotic? Do you remember that one dude came and gave a 3-hour, 2-hour lecture on why John Carter of Mars was a good movie?
Oh man,
remember that?
Yeah. That's what I mean when I say it was not the
Which,
best.
by the way, I agree. It is a good movie.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it was super chaotic. But like and like to that point, like they just kind of dragged us into that. Like they wouldn't even tell us what we would do. It's like, yeah, there you go. You're gonna be teaching classes with Patrick Ballesteros, and you meet him that day. Like, oh, hello,
Yeah.
hello, I'm here to. So, in that guy's defense, he gave a good lecture on why John Carpenter of Mars is a good movie. He was like passionate about it, and he had the material. He knew his stuff. It's just, why is this here?
Yeah.
Like, why? but yeah. Oh wow, I forgot all about that one.
I know it's somewhere. I'll post a picture that we have together there at the place because it's a funny picture. But yeah, and the other thing that this one I want to mention because this is my frustration with this kind of courses and trying to learn more like outside of the normal college experience, and it's that when I was still in college, after I saw your illustration module, I wanted a more advanced illustration class. And I mentioned this to O, I mentioned this to many teachers, and O was like, yeah, let's do this. If you want, if you get 20 people, I think 20 students to join a more advanced illustration course, I think it was about perspective or something like that. I wanted to learn more, let's say, because that was the only option that I had for illustration in the university, like O's class and the one before. And that was it. So I was like, I need more illustration in my life. I don't want to see any other of the graphic design classes. I want more illustration. So I got O into saying yes. I got 20 people to say yes, like 20 students. And I got the graphic design director to say like, okay, yeah, you want to implement this new course? Yeah, let's do it. But we'll do it my way. And then it went like downhill because she wanted it to become like a mix between editorial, infographics, and illustration. And I noped out. I was like, no, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah,
and
I had a teacher like that in college too. Where they sneak it in there. They're like, oh, it's an illustration class, and you show up and they're like, no, spot illustration or editorial work, and you're like, oh god, no, get me out of here.
Yeah,
that's no
so that was horrible. And I remember the teacher, like the head of graphic design, told me like, why didn't you enlist in your course? You were the one that made it. And I said like, no, I was interested in illustration, not editorial, not infographics. And apparently what I heard, like the rumors were that was a disaster. The students that actually got into that one just had a horrible time because it was not really good.
I don't remember teaching that though.
I don't think you did. I think they got
I don't
someone
think I was
else. No. It was something else. And oh man, it sucked so much. Yeah. Well, that was the thing. And I think And for the last thing that I actually it's not a course, but it was something that I did study as like actual illustration outside college. was a Skillshare class taught by Gabriel Piccolo, which is, I have told you guys, one of my favorite artists. And I
Yeah.
saw that he had 2 classes there. One that was already pre-recorded, and the second one was this one that was going to be like a live event where you could just show there in chat. Some people even got to like share their illustrations on the live thing and whatever. It was really cool. But it was just one class, so I don't think it really counts. I did learn a little bit about his process and coloring and stuff, but that was it. That's the only like official things that I've done so far. How about you, O?
Okay, buckle up.
Oof, yeah. Let's go.
Buckle up, because apparently Sabrina thinks I'm very old. So, okay, you know.
Well,
first,
you're about to see. You're gonna be like, in 2003, I took this. In 2009, I took that. Like, you're gonna go off. I know you will.
I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm not gonna go with exact years, but okay. So let's see. Aside from like the stuff you do when you're a kid, like I took watercolor, oil painting.
Oh yeah, we're talking like after college, after
after graduating.
Yeah.
Okay, so after graduating, 2 years after graduating university, I started teaching at the university, editorial design, and then 2 years after that, I started teaching illustration. And about a year after that, I was like, I should start taking some courses so that I actually know what I'm talking about.
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, what was your reasoning behind it? And it's like, so you feel like you can talk about it yourself a little more?
It's basically, up until that point, I was just like the dude that could draw.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like most of us, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
But I was teaching it now. So I thought, no, I need to start getting like more information. So I took a CGMA class with James Pack. He's a concept artist. It was an environment concept art class. So I took that class. It was great. The thing about learning is that learning has very, very noticeable diminishing returns. So when you just start learning, it's like every single class just like blows your mind, flips your universe upside down. So when I took that class with James' class in CGMA, it was like, oh my God. I did not know.
Yeah.
This is what I can do? Value? You don't say. So yeah, that one like really just blew my mind. And I kind of built off of that class, like most of my art, everything, for a few years. After that, I started taking classes in schoolism. I started with the Bobby Chu class, digital painting.
Mm-hmm.
Took digital painting with Bobby Chu. Unfortunately, that one was a little too basic. It was just like digital painting principles, like maybe a couple of things. Also, it was funny because it was like really old, the one that they had on schoolism. So, and I'm saying this because like, I suppose later we should talk about like, hey, what you should be careful with as a person that's going to study. But in this case, it's like, yeah, like, I mean, we're talking after 2010, but the Photoshop he was using, like, it was like Photoshop 6 or something. It was like oh, wow. Okay. And I took, lighting with Sam Nielsen over at schoolism as well. And that one, again, was like, oh my God, just opened me to a whole new world of lighting. And then I took, with Nathan Fox, a few courses at schoolism. I took several of the kind of non-guided courses.
Yeah, I'm going to point it out right now. Schoolism has a lot of good stuff. It has some kind of more basic, boring stuff, but when you find the gems on there, they are eye-opening. Like, they're like, wow.
Online courses. The thing about online courses is that they also depend a lot. Well, I mean, like any class, they depend a lot on who's teaching them.
Yeah.
Now, schoolism has a very, very, very high bar for the artists that teach there. But of course, some teachers are way, way more dynamic, way better at talking and stuff like that. One thing I do have with online courses, I don't know if this happens to you too, but it doesn't matter how good the course is. I will fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like
I think
oh, okay.
that's
So
what I
this is
did
not
like
just
about the
me.
Nathan Fox ones, those. They were an hour. That was easy enough to digest. It was like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, sometimes even 30 minutes. It was just like, we're getting in, we're getting out, and talking about what we need to talk about. And I liked that. But I don't know
Like,
about the other ones you've tried. Were they long enough to fall asleep too?
Eventually we'll get to the course I just did last, and you see this screen over here. Like while I was taking the class, I would have like YouTube here playing videos. I would have like a bunch of stuff here, and at one point they were like, "Why do you have so much stuff?" I'm like, "I need to." It's not that the class is boring. I just need to stay awake. I need to be overstimulated. Yeah. So after the schoolism courses, I kind of just stayed with that for a while. And those really kind of just pushed me forward. That brings us to when I started working in video games. And so I worked in video games for 2 years, and then I had a moment where I was a little bit depressed because of the death of my cat, Pixie. And so I said, okay, to get myself out of this funk, I'm going to go back to studying, because studying, like moving forward in my art, it's just going to, it's moving forward.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I discovered mentorships. And I had already decided that I was going to get out of concept art. And I didn't want to do concept art no more. I wanted to do illustration for role-playing games. So I said, I'm going to take a mentorship with somebody that is an illustrator for role-playing games and card games. And so I found a mentorship with Adam Duff, Lucid Pixel. And here's another warning for people that are looking to study in these things. This was the middle of the year of 2019. Pixie died May 4th of 2019. And about a month later, I looked for this. And so, like, okay, hey, I contact the guy. Great. Here's the mentorship. And okay, first of all, read carefully, because he was like, oh, great. I have, I have available spots for like December or November or something like that. Like, oh, well, that's not as soon as I would like, but okay, I guess he's got, a waiting period. He's got like a
busy
line.
man.
Yep.
Yeah. So I took it and I paid for it. And as soon as I get the information, like the email and all that kind of stuff, I notice, oh, for December of next year.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, okay. Okay.
I guess in a year and a half from now, I'm doing a course.
So it was a year and a half of waiting for that course. I stayed working concept art and video games for most of that year and a half until the middle of 2020, when I quit my job there. And then I took that course at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I took the mentorship with Adam Duff. If you guys like, we can talk about mentorships specifically later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after taking that mentorship, I decided I'm going to do this every year. I'm going to do this once a year. And so that year, though, I also took a course on Udemy for Blender. I took a course to learn Blender on Udemy. Great course. In about a month. I learned Blender in about a month. Now, I'm not a 3D artist, like I'm not a 3D pro, but I learned enough Blender to like carry me through what I needed in a month through Udemy. Great stuff. So then comes 2022. I kept my promise of let's do one of these a year. So in 2022, I did the mentorship with Anthony Jones, Robot Pencil. And then this year, I did a course, not a mentorship, at Swatches Academy with Clinton Diana Searley, which I finished about a week ago. And I actually am taking a mentorship with them in October. Again with them at Swatches Academy. So
October
I have so far
year.
maintained my... Sorry?
October of this year.
Yes.
Okay,
I made certain. Yes, I made certain. Okay. So I have kind of kept my promise of doing this once a year. So yeah, those are the courses I've taken as far as I can remember.
Great.
And yes.
Awesome. I like that you brought up the Blender courses in Udemy. Udemy? I don't know how to say it. So
I pronounce it
forgive
Udemy. I don't know if that's correct.
It's
Um,
Udemy.
I mean, Mao said Skillshare, and I think it's a Skillshare.
yeah,
But
sure.
right? But I like that you brought that up because studying isn't always just in the field you're after, too.
oh,
3D
absolutely, yes.
was a completely different essence that you were trying to bring to your 2D, right? Like that was your goal, was to
Absolutely.
use 3D as a tool for 2D. You weren't taking a Blender course because you were out there being like, I want to be a 3D artist now. You were doing it to apply it, a new technique, a new skill to your 2D work.
Well,
I think
it kind
that
of
should be
came
said.
from. It came from when I was working in video games. They always say that as a concept artist in video games, if the game is 3D, of course, it's always useful for you to know 3D, not so you can replace the 3D artist, but so that you don't make the 3D artist life a living hell. By the way,
Yep.
hey Ty, love you. But yeah, so you don't make the 3D artist life a living hell. That it's a great idea if you learn 3D. Now, in this case, Ty Jones, or Johns, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Ty, my great friend Ty, a brilliant 3D artist, and he wanted me to learn Maya. I'm pretty sure he's not going to forgive me that I didn't.
Maya's a task, though. Like that's like
well, they love it. They love it. But I did want to learn 3D because, yeah, I didn't want to be a burden. To that point, for example, I also had to learn Unity. Again, not so I can make the game, just so I'm not a burden to the people on the team that are using Unity. So
what did you learn Unity on? Was that just like YouTube, or did you do Udemy?
just by using it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one I just learned by using it. But it was simple. Like as an artist for a 3D game that was made in Unity, you just have to learn how to open Unity, how to navigate it, how to make sure you don't ruin
and your textures.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like I didn't have to like actually make anything or do anything in Unity. Just learn how to use it so that they don't have to explain it to me every time they ask me to go check something in Unity. So I have to learn Unity. I learned 3D so I could know the basics so that when I'm asking the 3D artist to do something, I know that what I'm asking can actually be done. And so that I know not to do stuff that the 3D artist won't be able to do. I'm pretty sure Ty wishes I learned that sooner. I also, and there's a bunch of other programs I had to learn. Asana, Trello, Slack.
Those are just, those don't, I mean, they're learning, yes, but I don't know if those necessarily add to your artistic skill. You know what I mean? Like that's just like learning Zoom and learning.
But they do add to your hireability, if that's even a word. No.
Yes, it's definitely in the remote world that they ask for that stuff on applications.
Trello, for example, Asana.
We use Asana.
Asana is a Asana is a tool that I should even use for myself. It's just that I'm a little bit traumatized from my experience with Asana. Okay, there you go.
Asana and
Trello has actually come up again.
Yeah, they're pretty similar now. I would say that they're on equal fields.
I have had clients that they want to, I'm freelancing for them, but they want to do it through Trello. And it's just the thing that when they ask you, can you handle Trello? It's just a lot easier if you say, yes, I can. And one key point in working in this industry, and I think in all industries, is you're going to get a lot more work from being easy to work with than from being the best artist in the world. Like, it's no good to be the best artist in the world if it's not easy to work with you. Yeah, and
if you can paint like a fiend, but the moment they ask you to do something, you're like, "Where's the button?" Where is it?
So and of course there's programs that's like, nobody's gonna expect you to know some program that like nobody uses. But when your client says like, hey, can you check this out? Like, do you have a Trello account? Can you go there? It's like, sure, I can go to Trello. Not a problem.
One of the frustrating bits from my point of view is the software spine, esoteric spine. When I had to learn it, it's better now, but when I had to learn it, it was like gatekeeped. kept. Like, you can't find tutorials on it. Or you could find one, but it would be like, how to open your program, how to input your model. And it's like, that's it. Not how to animate, not how to rig, nothing for esoteric spine. And all of the stuff that the developers of Spine actually put out there was in like a forum. And you had to scroll through just countless and countless of forum things to get your information. It wasn't a tutorial. It was just someone asking a question. How do I do this? And then someone replies, you do it this way. That's how you got your information for Spine. And I had to learn that. But at the same time, without all of that information out there, Spine is the #1 used animation tool for mobile games. It's what's used out there. And I didn't understand.
Has that situation changed at all? Like is
there are like 3 YouTubers that have graciously made tutorials out there that are actually worth something. Like, they teach you how to use the program. And thank goodness for those, because even then I had been using Spine at that point for a year, went onto their videos because I'm like, oh my god, people actually came out with Spine videos, going through them, and I'm like, I didn't know I could do that. I was doing that the long way, and like, it was one button, really? Like,
because after seeing what you do with Spine, I want to learn Spine.
It's pretty, it's easy to grasp once you figure. I mean, that makes it sound once you figure it out.
No, I thought you were gonna say once you find the resource to learn it, it's easy to learn.
No, but that's really interesting, because my brother, when we were working at our video game company, my brother had to learn how to animate. He's not an animator. He's like a sound engineer, but he had to learn how to animate for the company on Spine. And I think I told O the other day, but back then it was 2016, 17. Maybe.
Yeah, this is like recent enough. Like, Spine isn't that old. Yeah,
exactly. And he only had 2 tutorials to go from. One completely in Chinese, which I don't know, he was just following the cursor and where he clicked on. And the second one was what was the best. I loved this guy, or this person. It was a drag queen, like full costume, like makeup, everything, but it was in French, which was super interesting. So those were the only 2 videos that my brother was learning from.
Wait. It was a French drag queen giving a Spine tutorial?
Yeah, exactly. And like the set in drag and everything. Like... Yeah, it was amazing. It was like, because we walked past my brother's screen and we were like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm learning Spine in French. This is
the only thing available.
Yeah. And we actually had the idea, like, you should make YouTube videos, like tutorials, and you could get like a decent money for them, because nobody else was doing them, but he never did.
I'm just imagining like that French drag queen, like somebody questioning them, like somebody going like you're wearing drag for the tutorial? Yeah, so what? Like, you think people are gonna like that? Where else are they gonna learn? They can take it or leave it. Like, I can't do the sassy drag queen. I wish I could, but I can't do that. But I'm just imagining like all the sass. Like, where else are they gonna learn? Just I'll do it however I want. Oui.
Yep.
I don't speak French.
So long story short, the whole point that I was trying to pull up there is that studying doesn't just come with your skill in painting. It comes with other softwares. It comes with learning to adapt and add new features to your palette.
To that point. So, okay. Which program do each of us use primarily?
Ugh.
Like, what is your main program?
Photoshop, maybe? It's hard to say, because I'm in Spine almost just as much as I'm in Photoshop now. Like, it's pretty 1-to-1. I bounce back and forth on the daily, so...
Okay. What about you, Mal?
Okay. Yeah, I only exclusively use Photoshop, nothing else. Wow. But aside from like the Trellos and the toggles and all the applications that...
the Trellos and the toggles.
Yeah, just those, exclusively Photoshop.
Oh, wow. Okay, exclusively.
Yeah, I did want to learn, what's the one for VTubers that you can animate?
Live 2D.
Yeah, that one. I was super interested. Yeah, but haven't taken the time for it.
I've heard that one has a learning curve. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that kind of stopped me from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to learn that one too. I even have it installed and everything, but just what I do not have is time.
Wait. I do have another program that I don't know if this counts, but it's useful. The poses, the Easy Pose program for illustrations.
Easy Pose.
That one's really nice for to get poses.
Just today, I've been struggling with that. Because I use primarily Photoshop. I complement it with Blender. Depending on what I'm doing, it's more of one, more of the other, or sometimes not Blender at all. It just depends on the illustration. But I do love Blender. I will put my nuts in the fire for Blender, which I don't even know if that's an expression. If not, I made it up.
We got the feeling.
Yeah.
The essence of it was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I would not do for Photoshop. I love Photoshop. I even have a Photoshop cushion in my living room. But because of the way they charge for it and stuff like that, I would not put my nuts to the fire for Photoshop, which I would do for Blender.
Wait, I do have a question. Why didn't you learn
about
Maya?
my nuts in the fire, or
No. Maya. Is it because you have to pay for Maya?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's actually a huge thing. Yeah, like people will choose if I can pay less here and it's as good.
When I went to learn Blender, and this is taking us into the territory of recommendations for people that are looking to learn stuff, which I suppose we can just sprinkle in here and there.
Yeah.
But when you're gonna go learn a program specifically, it's a good idea to know what you are learning it for, because most of these programs are very, very different depending on what you want them for. So, for example, Photoshop. You want to learn Photoshop as a digital painter, or do you want to learn Photoshop as a photo editor? And you might as well be learning two different programs.
Yep.
Like I do digital painting, and Photoshop has no secrets from me. But if you want me to edit a photo, I can't do that. It's like I'm using a different program. It's just that way. When it comes to 3D, when I went into 3D, I knew that I was not going into 3D with the intention of being a 3D artist. Like Sabrina said, I was learning 3D for 2D. And to learn 3D for 2D, and I say this to people, like, I learned Blender in a month, and it's not because I'm like some genius or anything. No, it's because if you're not looking to be a 3D artist, it's actually really easy. Like with a little bit of discipline, you can learn this thing in a month and put out some pretty decent stuff. You just can't use it in a game. Like you will wreck the game.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't do that. But if you're just learning to use it in your 2D, it's a very different learning process, and your focus is very different. I know nothing about topology or anything like that. Like, no, I know what I need for 2D. That's it. So that happens a lot with programs that we use. We kind of it depends a lot on what you plan to use them for. So okay. And before we move on to anything else, just out of curiosity, so Mao said he wanted to learn Live 2D. Like, what programs do you want to learn? Like, what are you?
I want to learn Blender. That's the next step. I want to use it more so for like how you use it with 3D spaces, like to actually get to test a camera angle. That's what I want it for, so that I'm not stuck in making a perspective grid by hand just to find out I don't like my composition. Let me tweak my perspective grid 5 degrees. No, you can't really do that very easily. But in 3D, you can iron out those kinks, and that's what I want to use it for. Just the building blocks, which I know is simple, but it's just another task to add to the plate right now. So, Blender.
Yeah.
What about you, Mo?
Live
2D?
Yeah, Live 2D, especially because I was really into the idea of VTubers, which was John Silva Art. If you've seen the guy, he's used to stream, and he was working on this really cool model. I didn't know they got like super complicated, that you could like make them like the model just stand in the rain, and whenever he sneezed, like the
Oh,
character
it's
would change.
incredible.
Like it's
It's incredible.
an entire animation. But the thing is that kind of demotivated me. This was like a year ago, maybe, that I was watching him on Twitch. He started working on it, and it was like a month, 2 months, 3 months just on the illustration part. And I was like, is he okay? Like, this is a little too much. And he was talking about
You
how
were
he had,
worried about him?
yeah, because it was like, getting this to live 2D is going to be horrible. And I don't know, the person who he got for the live 2D part, I think he hired someone, another artist. I can't remember their name, but they were like, okay, and add this, and add this, and add this. And to this day, I don't think he has finished the model. It's been like a year because it's just too much. So that kind of demotivated me a little bit, but that's the one that I kind of had in mind.
Well,
So,
as far as I know, a VTuber avatar is very expensive.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like the people that make them charge very, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like it's a
It's a
very
lot
very
of work.
complicated work. Even the simple ones, simple ones are still a lot of work. They're very very expensive.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into it because that's the program I want to learn. I want to learn Live 2D, and I want to get into it mostly because I want to make something different from what you normally see in those things. Like you always see kind of like anime girls and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
like, hey, what about if we have something like more in my style?
Cyborg aliens and
Yeah. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
fantasy
exactly.
folks.
So yeah, I want to learn Live 2D. And actually there's little programs that I want to learn. I also use Easy Pose like you do.
Yeah.
But I use a lot of MetaHuman Creator for faces, stuff like that, to get references for faces exactly in the angle and the pose I need. And I was kind of looking for better options just today, and it's like a bunch of programs. Like, oh man, I have to learn. So I just installed like Baz 3D. It's like, okay, now I have to learn.
I
this
tried that one. I didn't like that one as much.
I don't know. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I actually, that was one of them that I did try. In fact, I recently deleted it because I was like, I'm never going to use this.
Yeah, Easy Pose is just so easy to use.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
It's in the name. It's Easy Pose. It's
Yep.
so easy to use. But it doesn't have faces. And MetaHuman Creator is very easy to make faces, but it's very limited in the kind of faces you can make. It's just like a certain type of face. So, but yeah, if I could, but right now I'm mostly interested in live 2D. It's just such a fascinating program, and the results are so fascinating. So, okay, now, aside from formal education and informal education, what do each of you do to, get better on your own? What do you do to get better on your own? Yeah.
I think I'm very outside source motivated still. So I would say a lot of what fuels my want to be better is like your Friday challenges. That was a big one because it was kind of always there and we did it for so long that it became, I don't know, I wanted it there. I wanted that habit of, okay, what am I going to do this Friday that's going to be out of my comfort zone? And even if the challenge was something simple like, oh, we're just going to do a character design, I tried personally myself to take it a step out of, I don't want to say comfort zone, but for the most part, it was like, what can I add to this that I wouldn't have done otherwise?
Yeah.
So
They're coming back this Friday, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, they are.
This Friday being
Friday?
September something.
Oh.
So by the
15,
time you
I
guys
think.
are hearing this, it's back to doing
Friday challenges.
Challenges. Join in because they're fantastic.
Yeah.
No, but that was a big one. And then, I mean, every so often you just have to do those I feel rusty images, so I'm gonna paint A, B, C, and D, right? Like, faces. I haven't drawn a face in the way that I would like to draw a face because I work in mobile games, I'm not painting a full illustration every day. I'm making these little assets, or I'm doing these little things in a style that's not my own. I mean, I'm painting it, but it's a style that's been established for the game. So sometimes I personally feel like, God, I just haven't painted in a while. So I'll sit down and paint. So I don't know if necessarily lately I've been specifically studying a particular thing in my work. It's been right now I don't want to bring up spine again, but I will. It's been a lot of spine.
Yeah.
It's been feeling good to animate, and I want to use that as a skill moving forward in life, because this was a new skill to me for this job, and I want to take that into future potential jobs or that kind of environment. But I'm not quite at the level yet where I think I can call myself a spine animator. I mean, I'm comfortable for the basics, but not enough to say I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's just been a lot of spine tutorials and practice on YouTube.
How do you keep yourself good? Well, I don't know.
Keep yourself good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
I don't know.
job
I don't know.
kind of does.
I wanted
Most
to
more
say
so-
something, and that's what came out. Okay,
Sure.
Like, just-
That's okay.
I think because this is another topic for a whole nother podcast episode, but the big part about being a working artist is that it doesn't matter if I am burnt out, if I'm tired and don't want to draw, I still have to. I
Yeah.
have to. 8 hours a day at minimum, I have to draw. And that keeps my hand going. It keeps it moving. And it has to be at a level of quality that my boss is going to be happy with. So I'm constantly, I can't just be like, well, today was a wash. It didn't feel right. So let me just throw that away. It's like, no, this has to still be right.
Yeah.
I have to turn it in. So that is the big motivator to keep my skills up, I guess, if that, for lack of a better word. And it changes from day to day, because one day I might be animating spine, the next day he's like, oh, we need a new marketing key art. Can you paint this in a day? One day. Can you paint a whole giant thing with 12 demons in it? Because we're making a demon game. 12 demons in it, and we didn't even have them designed yet. So I'm like, what do our demons look like? I can't just put them in a marketing art if we don't know what our demons in the game look like.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. Just come up with them, and we'll use those demons from the key art in the game. So we did it backwards. We didn't design the demons first. We designed the key art and then put those demons in the game. So it was backwards, but I got to paint that. And I hadn't painted in 2 weeks. I painted, but they're like little icons. They don't count. I don't know. They don't feel like technically involved.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. And does it also happen to you that you kind of have to learn something specific? For example, a ship. You have to, at your work, they say you're going to have to draw a ship for the demons. Let's say, I'm just saying an example. And then you have to look up like how to paint the ship, how to paint the materials so it looks like a ship. And that also helps, right?
In fact, today, my search history was rotting birds, because I needed to draw a rotting bird, and I never thought that I would have to do that in my life, but there it was. And I'm like, okay, I can draw something that looks kind of goopy and whatnot, but I'm like, really, what does a bird look like when it's rotted, right? So then I had to go, the reference search. But they're not typical things that I would have painted myself on my own time.
Yeah. And that's something that I did want to mention, because as artists, we do kind of have to keep learning. Like, even if we draw like the same things most of the time, whenever we come across like something that, oh, how do you draw like you're saying, a rotting bird, we have to we have to keep learning. And that's kind of what I like.
Yeah, good example, because you brought up ships.
Yeah.
Oh, you were recently working on, I don't know if it's NDA or whatnot, but it was a ship. I'm just going to say,
we don't have to say what it was for. I was working on a ship. We don't have to say what it was for.
But you were talking about the point, I don't know what it's called, on the front of like a pirate ship.
I did find out, but I forgot.
You had to be technical with it. And
Exactly.
you had to know these things and know the terms so that you could draw them accurately. And then for that week, you're a ship expert.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to be in order to
Exactly.
get your
It
point
is-
across.
It is a part of our job that
If you fake
you
it,
have
you're gonna
to
get
you
called
have
out.
to end up learning about pretty much everything. Like, you don't become an expert at anything, but you, like, yeah, I know a lot more about pirate ships than the average person would, because a few years back I worked on a pirate ship board game.
Mhm.
And you end up having like these little weird knowledge, like trivia
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff, like there's stuff that I know about way more than I should.
Anatomy
Yes.
is
Yeah.
the one that gets me with
Oh
a
no,
lot
I
of
mean,
people.
anatomy makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense, that we
Yeah,
all need
but,
to
like,
know a lot
people
about
don't-
anatomy.
They don't think that we know as much
Yeah.
as we do. Like, I may not know that muscle's name, but I sure do know where it goes.
Yeah.
Like for example, I know a lot about guns and how to
Okay,
shoot a
yeah.
gun, and I have never held a gun in my life. Like, I've never held a gun. I've obviously never shot a gun, but I know so much about guns.
Yep.
It's like, just, I know a lot about guns. I know a lot about swords. I know like all these kind of things. I know a lot about medieval times and stuff like that. You could never sit me with a historian. Like, I could never
Yeah.
sit down with a historian and just sort of, impress them with my knowledge of medieval times. But I do know, like, just a lot of trivia and stuff about
Mhm.
medieval times, about what they had and what they didn't and stuff like that.
And
And
even
that's
the cheat things, like, I don't remember them off the top of my head right now, because, of course, when I'm trying to think about it, none of them come to mind. But certain things like, oh, a person is only so many heads high. We said
Yeah.
that to an average person on the street. They're like, why would you know that information, that the average person is 8 heads high or whatever it is? Like, or that the crook of your elbow lines up with the bend in your waist,
Yeah.
and that's how you can make sure that your arms are the right length. Like, things like that are tidbits of information that only artists get, and sometimes it pulls me out. I step outside and be like, that's a weird thing to know. Like, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is.
So what about
fun
you,
to
Mo?
learn.
How do you stay on your toes? How do
Okay.
you keep it?
I also agree with Sabrina about the Friday challenges, because those kept us like keep moving. Let's try this different technique. Let's try different colors. Let's try backgrounds or something that we aren't doing all the time. Those were good.
They're
Another
coming
thing,
back. They're coming back.
Yeah. We missed them. We missed them.
Bring them
Please.
back.
Like,
Okay.
the thing is, like, I technically don't need you to be putting them on to do that
Yeah.
kind of challenge for myself, right? Why is it so hard for me to sit down and make myself my own Friday
Yeah.
challenge? But I can't do it. I've tried. It's not the same. It's something about that community effort of all going in and learning, like, a new skill or a new technique or trying a challenge together, that I know sometimes participation is, like, lower than sometimes it's higher, but I still like the fact that we're all sitting there tackling a
Yeah.
bit
No,
Yep.
I
of
like that.
something.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
Mo,
that
how
one.
do you stay on your toes?
Yeah, that one. The other one that I did for many years was the daily sketches challenge, or whatever the name is.
Mhm.
I actually took company time when I worked at video games in my own company. The first hour of the day, we did that with the intern, which became the lead designer after a while. That was a good, like, really good to every day just learn to make like a quick image, but it was like something like that we could use for video games. So it was like, let's draw this character, let's draw a prop, let's draw like that one helped for many years. But after I stopped working with video games and became a freelancer, I want to be honest with you guys. I haven't been like really learning much after that, because I'm not gonna go and sit here like, yeah, I've been learning so much and I'm a great artist. No, I became like stagnated in this place, which I have been trying to look for tutorials. For example, the Lowish Patreon thing that she has is amazing. I paid for 1 month, I think. I got like 2 or 3 tutorials out of there. I learned a lot, but it was like 1 week, and after that I left it there. It happened with 2 or 3 kind of tutorials, like from Proco. There's another one on YouTube. I forget their name, but it was like, yeah, that week I felt motivated enough to learn like anatomy or learn to paint this or whatever. But I've been feeling like every day more and more, because I as a freelancer, I don't have like that kind of challenge of like, yeah, I need to figure out how to do this very different image from myself, like for a video game or something else. I do kind of work with that, but for example, I mentioned to Sabrina the thing about like, yeah, if you get like a weird image that you have to learn. For example, my weirdest commission that I've had so far is, and I love this person. I can't remember your name, but it was a Reddit commission that I got, and it was Uncle Ido from Avatar smoking a joint with her husband, and they were together like on this tree scenery, and I didn't know how people hold the joints because I don't smoke. So I had to look it up, and it was like a whole like learning experience or whatever. That's the best image I've ever made. That's I will never top that. That's my peak art there.
You have to learn how to hold a joint.
Yeah. That's like top Mao art. You'll never see something as amazing as that. But yeah, I love that commission. But as I said, I'm saying I you kind of learn with those images, like style or whatever. But after that, I've been like with the art challenges, and for example, we did a daily sketch challenge with this year, and it kicked my ass because I'm
I
rusty.
failed miserably. Day 2, I was like, nope, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
Life took over, though. I am going to fully blame life, but you guys held through. I was impressed, and it produced some really good stuff. I do want to say that some of my favorites of your pieces, for being like those simpler, quick sketch type drawings, they're not your vast illustrations, but the witch potion one, I think, was your final one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Love that image. There's just something about it that hits a spot, and so it does prove the fact that your guys' little daily thing did, help.
It helps
to some degree.
The daily illustrations, the daily sketches or daily illustrations or whatever. They're. I mean, first of all, they test a lot of things that are not just okay. Wait. So to contextualize, so what we're talking about is the practice of saying, okay, every day or a certain time of the day, I'm going to make an image. Now, the idea of this challenge is that image has to be finished. You can't just go and start sketching and spend an hour and stop there. And no, you have to finish the image, because there's a lot of stuff that you learn with a daily image challenge, and
speed, for that matter.
One of them
is
speed and time management. Yes. Yeah. So speed, time management, discipline, all these kind of things are stuff that you learn. And of course, it's very, very important to enter these challenges knowing what you're what you're seeking to get out of it. So when you enter, like, I'm just going to do a daily image for a month, but you don't really know what your intentions are with it, you abandon it very easily, because, you don't really have a reason to be there. You're just doing it to prove that you can. And so that doesn't really work. I do them carefully. Like I don't do them a lot. Mostly because you can grow to resent them very easily. Like when you have a daily daily task to do, first of all, it's very important to do it on a schedule. Yeah. Because life is very chaotic, and so if you're just doing it whenever you get a chance during the day, you're very easily gonna find yourself doing it at 11 p.m. or something like that, and no. So yeah, you need to have a schedule for it.
Especially in the mornings. That's one thing that I did learn, because as I said before, when I was doing it at the company, it was the first hour of the day, and it was like, yeah, let's do this, and it's kind of like a warm up too. But the last time that I did it, I chose nights because I was like, I need to. I couldn't find any time in the morning to do them, and that kicked my ass. Like doing them at night you will find more excuses not to do them.
It's so yeah, I use them kind of as a way to sort of it's kind of like a way to kick yourself. For example, this year I was feeling very insecure with my work, drawing female characters that would be considered attractive. And I had noticed something, and this is something that I try to do. Okay, so like if we're at my point where I say how I stay on my toes,
yeah.
Right? So first of all, when you work, which we all do, there's problems, right? And so, for example, when I get the images that I have to work on, you can ask me to do certain things. In my industry, you know, in the role-playing game industry, they pay you per size. They don't pay you by complexity. So they can ask me to do a half-page image of a ship, and a half-page image of a dog, and a half-page image of a beautiful woman. They're all going to cost the same. They're all half pages. But I know that the half page of a woman is going to be a problem. Because I'm very insecure when it comes to drawing characters that would be considered conventionally beautiful. So that's one thing. That's one way I stay on my toes, and it's through my work. I try to keep track of where the problems are. Like, what is taking me more time than it should? What is being a problem so that things end up taking longer and that affects my other work and suddenly I'm all behind and stuff like, okay, where did that come from? Oh, it's because they just requested me to draw a pretty face and that took me like 3 days when it should have taken me like half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that point you go, I need to get used to drawing beautiful women. So that's where I did that challenge. I said, okay, I'm going to do a 30-day challenge where every day I'm going to draw a woman that would be considered beautiful. Those challenges work for a lot of things: speed, discipline, all that kind of stuff. Even just see if you can do it. But also, if you need to learn something from them, you have to be like, this is kind of weird, but I don't know if it's weird, but you gotta like journal. So that's something I started doing this year. Every day when I would post the image on Discord, I would post it with like a little kind of reflection upon like what had happened that day and what I had learned that day. Because otherwise you're just going through the motions. You're not really learning something from it. But the truth of the matter is that what I do to keep myself, like to stay on my toes, what I do to kind of make sure that I'm always improving is, and I don't know if this is helpful advice or not, because it has to do with the fact that, you might have noticed, but I'm extremely hyperactive. I'm very, very hyperactive. And that means that I get, amongst many other things, and the way I talk and the way I express myself and everything like that, I get bored so easy. I get bored just so easy. And I love drawing and I love painting and I love this, but even this will bore me if I allow it to. And one of the ways I get bored is I get bored if something is easy. I just get bored. If something is easy, that image just doesn't call me. About a week ago, I was having a conversation with a new client, and the client was telling me like, okay, so we're going to give you this image. Okay. And what kind of images do you want me to give you? And I said, give me the ones nobody else wants. Like, give me the hard ones. Give me the ones that you're thinking that you might have to change because you don't know if those can be done. And then he was like, oh, like, oh, wow. Oh, look at you. Like, no. It's not that. It's not ego. It's just,
if you give me one more gun, I'm going to fall asleep painting it.
Yeah.
It's just, I need that challenge. I need the thrill of not knowing if I'm going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah.
Sure, it blows up in your face sometimes. Thankfully, not most of the time. But I need to feel like, oh, I'm going to have to look this up. I'm going to have to learn something new. I'm going to have to develop like a whole new skill so I can do this image. I need that. I need that so that this job remains interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I need to not know if this is going to work. And for a lot of people, that might be terrifying. For a lot of people, that might be like, no. That's why I hate so
like
much.
That in moderation. I don't know. I agree with you that I like to paint something new. If I was just the rock guy at a AAA studio and my specialty was just rocks, I would quit. Like, I can't do the same thing in and out. Like, especially for people who are like, say, a rigger for 3D. They don't get to animate. They didn't get to do the modeling. They just put little circles and bones on things to make them bend. That sounds like the most boring job I've ever heard of. Like, the fun part in Spine when I rig a 2D thing is that I get to animate it and actually like see it function and work, and I get to do that part. So that's fun to me. If I just had to rig something in 2D and hand it off to someone else to animate, oh my god, no. Where's the satisfaction in rigging? Oh yay, I really made that. That elbow can really bend. That animator's gonna have fun with that. No, no. So I get the drive of needing to do something exciting, with it.
Yeah.
And not do the same thing that's just easy.
So that keeps me on my toes because, like, I love images. Okay, so I hate it when people talk about comfort zone because the way people think normally about comfort zone, when people say like, I'm exploring outside of my comfort zone, what they really mean is I'm doing something I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. And that's what I was bringing up earlier with the challenges too, when I said, for lack of a better word, comfort zone is exactly what those challenges are. It's
But what I like to think, the way I like to conceive comfort zone is out of your comfort zone is you don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what makes us comfortable is guaranteed success. Right? Like, I know I can draw this. I know I can pull this off. So that's comfort zone. And when you don't know, when it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I'm just going to... like, I'm going to work on this, but I don't know where it's going to go. That's... and yes, like you said, like, sometimes I might overdo it a little bit. Sometimes I might go a little bit overboard in that sense.
Well, and sometimes the confidence carries you through and then it still bombs. And you're like, okay, I'm going to move on from this piece because
I have been known to occasionally take on work that I have no business taking on. That like stuff that I make that I'm like, why did I say I could do that? I can't do that. And then I have to figure out how to do it. And I'm not gonna lie, that was not like a certain client, which will not be named, that requested me to do like giant mechs in 3D, and I had no idea how to do that. So I had to like learn that week how to do that, so I could do the. That was not a good idea. That's not.
And they loved it, and they wanted you to do more, and you said no.
Yes, I learned. I was able to say no, I can't do that. But so it does go overboard a lot of times, but it does keep you on your toes. So the good with the bad. It is kind of like extreme living for artists.
Now, for example, on the other side of the spectrum, folks without a career in art, how would you say they stay on their toes when they don't have that daily influence of a job? Because some commonality that I'm kind of hearing here is that your job, in a nutshell, kind of keeps you on your toes. You want these exciting images that come from outside sources and all these things. That's not to say that you can't give yourself prompts to improve, but how does someone who doesn't have a job, say a beginner artist, or even someone art skills but don't have a job, how do they learn? How do they stay motivated to try different things, right? Like, obviously, the quick and easy answer is join us on Fridays for O's challenges.
Yeah.
but there's doesn't necessarily have to be us, although of course everybody's
Because,
welcome.
okay, I'm gonna kind of elaborate a little bit too, because beginner artists are very easy to be like, I'm gonna hide the hands in the pocket. I'm gonna do these things because they're comfortable. What is their push? What's their oomph to be like, no, don't do that. Try drawing those hands. Get them out there.
Well,
That kind of
there
thing.
is a lot of value in becoming a part of a community. But here's the thing. So you have to find a community that is at your level. Now, of course, for a beginner, that's not great advice because like you don't want to just get together with a bunch of people that don't know how to draw and then where are you going to go from there? But there is a lot to be said about like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with Loish. Like, I'm pretty sure she's busy to start off with. And second, like, no, look for artists that are closer to where you are. And perhaps this applies more to people that are not like absolute beginners. Because if you try to hang out with like a group of artists that are years and decades ahead of you, you're just going to be frustrated all the time, right? Because you're just going to be faced daily with like all the stuff you can't do. But do find a supporting community of artists. There are plenty, including ours. There are plenty of communities of supporting artists. There's a lot of people out there that are not spectacularly nice, but there's plenty of people that are. So finding a community that will challenge you and kind of, that you can bounce stuff off of and interact with and stuff like that, that's going to be great. So that is a great way to kind of learn and get there and stuff like that. What else? What else could
I would
a
suggest
person looking
also, another one which I mentioned in one of my videos. I think you can check me out at Matras on YouTube. One of the things that I do think is really important is find a mentor as well. And this goes hand in hand with the conversation of mentorships. But I do think it is important to get someone that, it's good to have like a community and like friends that you can study with and kind of at the same level or keep growing together. But a mentor is also really important because that's a person that has already gone through a lot of stuff, has more experience, and can kind of guide you. But be careful because you need to find someone that actually knows their stuff and also knows how to teach, because most people don't know how to teach. And this is another question that I did have, especially for O, because he's a teacher. That's another thing that kind of can keep you on your toes, which is teaching, because teaching, you need, if you have to teach a class of new students, you need to be updated. You need to stay like, in the whole illustration thing, like what programs are we using, what new techniques are there out there, and it's like, I don't know if I don't know where I heard this, but it was like something like, when you teach, you learn yourself, but like twice or something. But that's
that's a very that's like an old saying.
Yeah. But
there's the learning process normally goes with, okay, so there's this thing about learning where most people think about learning as kind of just diagonal line, if we're going with a diagram.
Linear.
So
no way to go but up.
So you learn and okay, sometimes no. So learning is actually two lines, one of which is application and one of which is appreciation. Basically, what this means is that you need to learn to know what is good before you can do the good stuff. So when you learn, first, your ability to appreciate what is good goes up. And your ability to do stuff stays. And as you become better at knowing what is good and you continue to practice, that will pull up your ability to do good things. There's a diagram for that. I don't know if maybe I'll just force Mal to post it
It's
put
a
it
big
into the video.
I've
Yeah,
seen it.
like
It's just a
I'll
wave
make
the
Miles
line
listen.
and they both
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is that eventually your ability to do good stuff is going to start going up, and your appreciation is going to level out. And so at certain points they meet, and then your ability to do stuff continues to go up, and your ability to appreciate stays level. And with the diagram, this should be a lot more clear.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll be there. It'll be there. And
Yeah.
so what happens is you're going to notice that there's like plateaus and climbing. And so there's moments when your ability to appreciate is way higher than your ability to execute. And that's when you're learning and you feel bad.
You're
That's
like,
when you're
I
learning.
suck.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't I do this?
suck.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything looks wrong. I'm having a low day. It's awful.
Then your ability to execute is going to start going up and you start feeling better. And at a certain point, it's going to pass your appreciation ability. And that's when you're going, oh my God, I didn't know I was this good. Oh, wow.
I want to show
Wow.
everybody. Look at this,
Yeah,
guys.
like,
Look at my art.
This is amazing.
I peaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the plateaus are, and this applies to what Mal was saying before. The plateaus are when you're stagnant, when you feel stagnant. The plateaus are when you're going like, I'm not advancing. I'm not advancing. I'm not. And when they meet in the middle, it's like this magical moment that lasts nothing.
Yeah.
So, like that. Okay. So, all this, when it comes to teaching, is, okay, the process of learning is composed of appreciation, practice, and teaching is like the final part of learning. So it goes something like this. First, you learn, then you apply.
Yeah.
Then there's a third step. So first you learn. Let's say that you learn, okay, I'm going to learn a new technique for drawing faces. Okay, so you learn it. Then you apply it, as in you go and you practice it. Third step is you appropriate. Because when you learn the way another person does something. So I teach you how to draw a face. You learned how to draw faces my way. Then you practice it. And through practice comes step 3, which is appropriation, where now you make it yours. Now it's what I taught you, plus your touch. This all, of course, comes with practice and time. And then you teach. And when you teach, it's kind of like that way of cementing what you've learned. Because, and this is another saying, I don't remember who said this. It was somebody smart.
Yeah.
So obviously not me. But somebody said that, like, if you can't explain something in simple terms, then you don't really get it. Right? So it's when you are able to grab this and teach it to somebody else that you have reached that final point of learning it. And of course, this process continues forever, which should be the takeaway of today's podcast. Like, yes, we never stop learning. This happens forever. But those are like the 4 fundamental steps. You learn, you apply, you appropriate, and you teach. And that goes for each one. And you see a lot of people that make that mistake in their learning process. A lot of people only learn, which sounds weird. Like, what do you mean they only learn? I know so many people, and I know you do too, that just have watched all the tutorials. They've watched all the YouTube courses, all the YouTube tutorials. They've done all the courses. They've seen all the courses. They've read all the books. That's it. That's all they got.
It's like learning to drive. I mean, really, you can read about driving, you can watch videos on driving, but until you are behind a vehicle, you don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
But then you'll have the people that only practice but don't learn. And the problem with that is that if you don't know what you're practicing for, if you're just practicing but you don't know what you're practicing or what it's for, and because what practicing does is it grabs what you learned and it kind of incorporates it into what you do, kind of, and that's where appropriation comes. So, but if you're just practicing without learning anything, then all you're doing is grabbing what you are right now and just cementing it further.
Yeah.
So like if you have bad habits in art and stuff like that, and you just practice and practice and practice and practice, all you're doing is like cementing those bad habits further. To quote Michael Jordan, okay, this is not a quote because I don't actually know the quote, but he said something like, you can practice shooting hoops like all day for I don't know how much time, but if you don't know, you're just going to become very good at doing it wrong. So you have to learn, you have to practice, and you have to appropriate, because you don't want to be an artist that is just a version, like a lesser version of your teacher.
Oh yeah.
No, you got to make it your own. You got to make it your own. You got to add some of you to it.
It was actually really interesting. Mao was showing some of his old work in the workshop. I think it was just you and me in there.
Yeah.
And he was going back, way back to where he was drawing first for the on digital artwork for the first time, and you could see when he took your class. It was like Mao's art, like typical. I'm just starting digital art.
Yeah,
and then it was almost to a T. Influence. Like you could just see the line divide, and then it goes back into okay. Mao made something of it. He took it into his own work and used it later, but it wasn't quite literally that first piece was an influenced art piece.
Yeah.
It was obvious. But you did that. You did the applying and using it in your own way later. Yeah. And that was interesting to see. Just seeing that progression. It was fun.
Yeah.
It requires patience because it takes time, right? Like you learn, you practice, that takes a while. Appropriation takes sometimes even years, right? Like you're going to be, every student is going to be a lesser version of their teacher for a while.
Yep.
You know, for a little bit. It's going to happen for a little bit, and you just got to be okay with that. That's why, like Mao said before, you just need to choose your teacher very well.
Yeah.
You know, choose a teacher that you're
Mao made a mistake. He's trying to warn.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man.
I mean, look at him. He's not even bald. Like he's not even bald. What a bad student.
Yeah.
But you do have and I do think that would be very valuable to say here. Like, okay, what course and what teacher is for you? So, what about you guys? What do you think? What are you looking for? What are you? How do you know if a course is for you?
It's a little different because it's more of where I want to be versus what I am. So I look at environmental art. Up to this point in my life, I have never been an environmental artist, but I have wanted to because I see that kind of stuff on my feed and on like social feeds, I should clarify. And it gives me those goosebumpies and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. I want to do that. And so that's what I tried to get out of with the Nathan Fox course originally was that my backgrounds suck, but I have to do these on a daily basis. And I was just scooting by with the bare minimum of like, okay, I can paint semi-well. Let's just apply it to a basic background. And I mean, it was basic. And I wanted that confidence of filling an entire canvas because up to that point, it's just been characters. Like, they don't have to reach the edges if you don't want them to. So, yeah, I don't know. My influences are where I want to be versus more so what's going to advance what I currently do. And it's interesting that you say, like, find a mentor and find a teacher because I didn't have that, which is interesting. Like, I had the community. That was my influence. It was friendships and the backup and the help me improve, give me feedback conversations from you guys it helped a lot. But in college, in all of it, there wasn't a singular person that I wanted to mimic or idolize or pull every scrap of information from. And right now, I honestly still don't think I have one. I don't know. There's not like an artist that comes to mind, and maybe I should, because maybe that would help me move forward from where I am right now. If I actually committed to being, I want to paint like this person for the next month, pick up all their knowledge that I possibly can, and then apply it to my work. Maybe that would help me.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I think you can also get like not like a specific person as a mentor or teacher, or for example, what O has been doing. He has been looking for many people to learn little things
Mentorship.
from. Yeah. But
Mhm.
you can also, like count on your community as like someone that pushes you to become better, I think. But it is difficult to find someone, especially if you're starting out. That one's like the more that's the advice that I would give someone that's just starting out, because after graduating and stuff, it's a little more difficult to find like one specific person that you can call like a mentor, or that's how I feel about it.
Go to Twitch. I don't know if it's still that way, but find yourself someone's art on Twitch that you admire, that you can sit in and have a conversation in the text chat, whatever have you. Join O's if you feel like it. YouTube or Twitch, I don't know which one you're going back to, but that's, I mean, we have a lot of examples in our community of people who've done just that. They are beginner artists, absolutely beginner, and it's fun to actually see how the influence of being in our community, as frustrating as it is sometimes for that person, they do grow. You see improvement.
Oh yeah.
And that's fun to see. I like it. And we're so welcoming here that it's like, bring it on. Like, show us your stuff.
Well, there is something when it comes to learning, and it's a little dangerous to think this way, because you don't want people just running around thinking, "Oh, I'm awesome," but okay, wait, maybe not that, because I mean, yeah, you don't want people to think they're awesome, but what I mean is, as you advance in skill, learning becomes not more difficult. You actually get better at learning, but finding stuff to learn gets more difficult.
Yeah.
It is. That's why I said that it was a dangerous thing, because it is dangerous to just start thinking like, I have almost nothing left to learn. Like I'm going to have to go around the world looking for something to learn. No, like you don't want to think like that, but it does get to a point where you start watching courses and you start watching tutorials, and most of the courses and tutorials that you watch are just loaded with stuff that you're like, I already knew that. I already knew that. I already knew that. And you're just going to start to find little nuggets. So one piece of advice I would give when looking for a teacher is understand why you choose the teacher that you choose, right? Don't choose teachers based on stuff that has nothing to do with artistic skill. What do I mean by that? It's like, I'm going to choose this person as a teacher because they have the most followers on Instagram. So that doesn't mean they're a good artist. That doesn't mean they're a good artist at all. Unless you want to learn about how to get followers on Instagram. In that case, yeah, go ahead. Learn from them. But other than that, no. For example, when I went to learn from Anthony Jones, it's because I like the way he does lighting. So I'm like, okay, I want to learn lighting from Anthony Jones because I like the way he does lighting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that Anthony Jones does that I'm not going to say I don't like, just that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, you do that. What I want to learn from you is lighting. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit down with that teacher when they go and try to teach me something beyond lighting. I'm not going to go, because please don't do that.
I am not here to learn this.
Yes. I am sorry, Mr. Jones. I came for your lighting. No, I don't know what that accent is, by the way.
Fancy, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do need that, right? Like try to know what it is you're looking for from your teacher, so that, because sometimes no teacher is going to fulfill 100% of your expectations. There's no such thing as a perfect artist. There's no such thing as a perfect teacher. And there's no such thing as the best artist in the world. That doesn't exist. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has things that they're weak at. And so, but if you go to a teacher Like, okay, I love the way this person does this. You are going to find other things with them, but you're not going to be disappointed when you don't find everything in that teacher,
Oh, yeah.
Also, one thing I would say, okay, when you're looking for courses, when you're looking for stuff to learn, understand that a lot of online teaching, as much as you'd think the opposite, a lot of online teaching is not as personal as it would be. You'd think that if we're learning online and we can chat directly and stuff like that, it's going to be very personal, and a lot of it is not. Most of the mentorships and courses that you're going to find are people that basically have online schools, and they don't really have the time or the disposition to just sit down and get personal with you, right? They got something that they're going to teach you. You're fortunate enough to learn it directly from them, but they're not always going to have the opportunity to sit down and just kind of with you directly. Although there are courses like that, and you can look for that. So, for example, if you want to take a course, but don't be surprised when it's not about you. It's the course. On the other hand, and this happened to me recently. It's like, I took a course and you're not going to review my portfolio? No, there is such a thing as a portfolio review. So you can take that. Right? Oh, you want people to look at your portfolio. Oh, there's portfolio reviews. Okay. Oh, you want somebody to just take a look at this image. Actually, there's a lot of artists that offer that service. You can schedule a consultation with them and they will check out a specific image and tell you how to improve it. Now, I will give this advice. Artists that offer these services, offer them. Now, of course, you can write to your favorite artist and ask.
Oh, yeah.
But most of the artists that offer these services already are making it. Yeah. They're already offering it. Do not bug and pester an artist if they don't offer that. Now, if you want to write to an artist and ask, go ahead. I mean, there's no harm in that. But if there's no answer, or if they say no, leave it at that. Why? First of all, just because you're a good artist doesn't mean you're a good teacher.
Yeah.
Second, not everybody's built for that. Not everybody's built for that. Some people just don't have that. It's a separate skill. And third, sometimes artists just don't have the time, right? Just because an artist maybe teaches doesn't mean that they're always in teaching mode. There's a lot of artists that they work and they teach at certain times of the year or when they feel like it, and they'll offer that. So ask if you want, but also just, be a part of the community. There's so many opportunities to learn, and you'll see that they announce it and stuff like that. You can go sign up. Hey, you want to get a portfolio review? Okay, there's a bunch of places. You can go to Moon Colony. You can go to Moon Colony is like an online community. They have a Discord. You go there every now and then. They have a portfolio review or an art review. You just go be a part of the community, see where they're gonna do it, sign up. It's free, all that kind of stuff. But don't expect everybody to do it.
Yeah.
I get it. This is the internet. We're all here, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, not everybody wants to be teaching. This is not. Yeah, and not everybody's good at it either. So.
And be ready to take criticism.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a big one. Sometimes people are out there looking to get a portfolio review just to be told that they're great.
Yep.
And that you're going to get disappointed when that's not the case. So take a good reflection at yourself. Why are you getting this portfolio review? Are you ready to hear the hard truth that, oh, this isn't good. Remove this whole image from your portfolio because it's not helping anything. And you're like, but that's my favorite image. Doesn't matter. Someone's going to tell you that feedback and you have to be ready to hear it. That's
absolutely
a big part of it. They're not going to just sit there and say, nope, it's perfect. The best portfolio I've ever seen. And I don't even know why you're here. You should just be out making all of the money. They're not going to say that to you.
Yep.
Ever.
That is, I think that's a very good, solid piece of advice. Like, okay, if you're going to look for an artist and you're going to ask them to give you feedback, take it. If you don't agree, just take it and think about it later. Consider it. Consider it. Don't just close your mind and go like, no. You know what? If you don't agree at that moment, shut up, take the feedback, think about it. Give it a while. Give it a few days and see if after a few days you still don't agree, just leave it. I mean, just leave it. Don't go argue with the artist that gave you that feedback or anything like that. It's not gonna, like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like you think you're gonna change their lives suddenly because you prove them wrong? But on the other hand, when and this is a little piece of advice, it's like if you ask an artist for feedback and they give you that feedback, but they're not offering more, just take the feedback and do with it what you will. A lot of times you see people that go
like,
and...
But what about this?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't continue your conversation.
Exactly.
Don't be
Yeah.
naggy.
You'll see people that will come like, okay, how can I make this image better? Like, dude,
Do this.
yeah, do this or that, and then they like, oh, okay, but what about this? I'll do this and that, and then, but what about this? And at a certain point, it becomes like, okay, dude, like, I can't.
Yeah, keep doing this forever.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Especially when it's for free.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these artists, they teach as a way to make a living.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that will go in and try to just get like a free class. Well, some artists are nice enough that they might even
give you a little taste. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, oh, I think you could work on this. And if you ask for more, they'll be like, take my course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and just don't abuse, right? Like, just, okay, the artist is being nice enough.
Like, for example, I'm going to use you again.
Oh.
Because our Discord is very, I say our, it's not ours, your Discord, but our community.
It's ours. Come on.
No,
you're a Discord mommy. Come on.
It feels like a place that anybody can come in, go into the critique, I don't even know what channel it's called, the tutorial, tips, advice, whatever it may be, or the art one, and ask for help. You're going to get a plethora of people ready and willing to help you critique your work, give you feedback, all of the like. But if you're constantly doing that, especially from O's going to be like, take a mentorship with me. And be like, I'm going to be offering them again soon, or something of the like. Like, there's still a way to abuse it, but also I don't think that really exists in our community.
No.
We're pretty open to letting people discuss things out. But that's the point I'm trying to make is that not everyone's going to have that. You're not going to go jump into, I don't know, Dave Greco's, he's another Twitch artist. He's got a bit more of a following. He's pretty into,
amazing.
He's very good. I highly doubt he's in his Discord every darn day willing to give advice. So each community's different. You're not going to just go jump into your favorite Twitch artist's community and be welcomed in with open arms to a degree, right? It depends.
I think a lot of it just boils down to just be respectful. I know that sounds very...
Yeah.
And it should be simple, but it's not always that easy. I get it. But one thing is respect the boundaries.
Don't just pop into someone's Twitch stream first day you've ever talked there and like, hey, can you look at my work? No, don't do that.
But what I mean is like in the world we live in today, it is so easy to communicate with your favorite artist. My favorite artist is dead, so I can't really communicate with him. Mobius, you're taking too soon. You're taking too soon, Mobius. But there's a lot of artists that I love their work. And, I check out their websites, I check out where they are, and unfortunately they don't teach. And that's just the way it is. It's sad. It's sad. I wish they did, but they don't. That's all you get. So yeah, be respectful. Be respectful, because yes, I would like to learn from a lot of artists that are just not making that available, and that is their choice. It's their choice. And it is my choice to teach, and it is their choice not to. And you gotta respect that. Because, everybody's got their own thing going on, so if somebody just doesn't want to go that route, that's it, that's that.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of stuff that students get a lot of privileges from becoming a student. And what I mean is, for example, there are certain questions that you can only ask your teacher, the teacher that is your teacher officially, that you are in a student-teacher relationship, in a mentorship relationship, and you can ask them that kind of stuff. Hey, let's sit down and talk about my career and that kind of thing. And oh, okay. But then, that's that artist that on Instagram that you can send them a message. Yeah, you just send them a message hey, do you give any classes? No. Hey, thanks for answering. I really like your stuff. Mario,
Your voice gets all...
I'm trying to play a character here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's don't just hop on social media and send somebody a multiple page with layered question because it does happen. Suddenly out of nowhere, somebody on social media will send you a message first of all, they'll give you the whole personal story of their life, and then they'll be okay, and what do you think I can do? And they'll go into this very deep, and it's hey, thanks for opening up and reaching out. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Who are you again? So that's the thing, boundaries, kind of respect that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Somebody's coming in from zero, right? I've never, what is this? Is this a pencil? I don't know. But I saw the drawings on the Instagrams, and I like them.
Yes.
And I think I want to do that. So what do you think I should do?
There are infinite beginner courses out there. Literally Google that. Beginner course in environmental concept, in character design, in all of it. You just tack on the beginner word, take off, go rolling with it, but actually, like O said earlier, apply it. Don't just watch it and be wow, that was really interesting. Sit there, pause the video if you must, draw with the video. Force yourself to draw as you learn it, if anything. That's it.
Well,
you don't have to go. That's another topic, I know, but I'm going to say it outright. There is infinite information. You don't have to be sitting there going, I've never picked up a pencil in my life, but now I'm going to go to art school. Don't.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about, is there a specific place you would recommend? Because like you said, there's infinite beginner courses out there, which means that there's a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we, each one of us, what do you recommend? Which one do you like?
See, the thing is that it's a beginner's artist thing, but where to learn properly? Gosh. I don't know.
I think one of the first things that we would have to consider is budget.
That's what.
Well, yes. But there
Because,
are
are you
there's
willing
some
to invest
gold-
money into this, or do you
There's
got
gold
nothing?
on YouTube. I don't think off the bat, if you've never picked up a pencil, don't go blowing $500 on a course.
Yeah.
Figure out if you like it first. Even look up the bad YouTube videos. I'm not gonna say that they like just draw. If that's
Yeah.
the first thing you're doing, just draw. Do it. Just draw. Doodle
Yeah.
whatever comes to your mind, whatever they're saying in the course. Draw your egg, your squares, learn the way perspective works, all of that. Those very intro courses. If you are a beginner artist but just past that point, like you're on the cusp of like, okay, I know how to shade a ball, I know how to do perspective. If you're pushing past that just that little bit, Udemy, great. Schoolism has some beginner courses on there, great. Learn from people that know what they're talking about at that point. The intro, very, very, very intro stuff, I don't think it matters where you're from. I really don't. The perspective as it gets more advanced, sure, but beginner perspective, like what is 1 point, 2 point, 3 point? YouTube. YouTube it away, because you still have to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you can't skip it. That is where you learn to draw.
The fundamentals cannot be skipped.
Yeah.
No.
That is so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what
Learning
I
how
wanted,
to shade, learning
yeah.
how light works.
and a thing that I want to just say that also complements a little what you're saying is if it feels like the tutorial or the class is focused on shortcuts and making things easy and quick, and those like in this lesson you will learn perspective with these 5 quick shortcuts.
How to draw a face in 5 minutes.
Yeah, those you should avoid, because there are a lot of YouTube videos that of artists that are like taking shortcuts. That's like, yeah, you can trace from this other artist and you can change it a little. I've seen that YouTuber, I won't mention who it is, but there are videos like that that teach like, no, it's okay to just trace until you become good with just steal from other artists. That's if it feels like it's a little wrong and it's like morally gray area, don't take those. Just try like if you take the hard path to learning, those are the best ones, because those are like, yeah, it feels like homework. Yeah, those. Not like, yeah, this Photoshop plugin will do the perspective for you, so you don't have to learn it. No, don't take those.
I once heard I once had a student ask me, like, like why can't I do this complex thing, or why can't I use this shortcut? And it's like, okay, imagine you're learning how to drive, right? So you're learning how to drive, and okay, first of all, why can't you do the super complex thing? Why do you have to start simple? Because you can't learn how to drive and I just send you directly to like a rally or or like a race or stuff like that. Like, no, you're learning how to drive, so you're gonna take simple roads and stuff like that, because otherwise you're just gonna get hurt. You're just gonna, it's just gonna go wrong. Shortcuts are for people that already know how to get there.
Yeah,
that's
They just want to do
shortcut.
It faster. Yeah. They know how to draw a face. Let's see how we draw it faster. Granted, those videos are still not good, but
yeah. But when
those
you
are
take
marketed for
yeah.
is people who already draw wanting to do it faster.
Yeah.
When you take a shortcut, it's because you already know how to get there. So that's when you take a shortcut. Maybe this is a controversial thing to say. Maybe it's a little bit of ignorance on my side. I would not yet recommend TikTok or learning.
Oh,
because
no quick format, anything. Don't reel, no YouTube reels, just YouTube videos.
It's mostly because the thing about stuff like TikTok and shorts and reels and stuff like that is that they're way too focused on entertainment factor.
Yep.
And so the shortcut you learn on TikTok, the shortcut you learn on shorts and all that kind of stuff, they're meant to get views and and entertainment and stuff like that. And learning isn't always fun, right? A boring teacher is a boring teacher. That's a shame. And there are, I'm not going to mention anybody, but there are some popular, for example, artists that teach on YouTube and stuff like that I avoid simply because, yeah, I think they're too boring. Or some that I avoid because they try too much to be entertaining, even though they would be good teachers otherwise.
Yeah.
Again, not going to say names. Very tempted to, but not going to. But I would avoid platforms that are just exclusively, okay, I wouldn't say TikTok is exclusively meant for entertainment, but it is mostly.
Yeah.
Now, again, I will say, very ignorant when it comes to TikTok. Because as Sabrina so kindly pointed out, I'm very old. So
Ancient.
I don't do TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
So yeah, maybe somebody will jump in defense of TikTok's educational value.
Okay,
But normally, if somebody tells me I learned on TikTok, I immediately assume you learned wrong. So, and platforms like YouTube has a very strong educational side to it. Not all of it. Not all of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it. Like there's a lot of educational stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
So defend TikTok, Mal. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is my thing. Okay. So TikTok. Actually, there's some good artists on TikTok, but I would say be careful not to learn from like the TikTok platform, but go to their user. And if they have a YouTube channel, they promote their classes on TikTok. So you have to jump into YouTube. So that's a good way to kind of find, if you can't find like on YouTube like yourself, you will find some, but be careful because there are a lot of really, 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 really bad teachers on TikTok. I've scrolled through those for a couple of hours, and it's not good. They teach horrible things, and it's no. Avoid TikTok as well.
Do you have an example of a horrible thing? Because I feel like we can talk all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of gave an example of like the shortcuts as one of them being a poor thing to look for when you're looking for classes. But what would be like an example for people out there that are looking for videos like right off the bat? Oh, I shouldn't be watching this one because Mao and O and Sabrina said this, and now I know that this is a bad video.
Bad video.
That's
what would be an example of like a poorly taught something, right? Like, I think one of my, just to start it off with like a bang here, one of my favorites is like just hair or just an eye, just a nose, and not the whole package of how to draw a head, how to put it together, how to do those things. That bugs me. Because yes, it's fun to just sit there and draw an eye, and it's like, wow, look at this eye I drew. And it's like, okay, yeah, you drew that eye really well. Can you draw the whole head? No. So that's one of the things to look out for. It's like, don't watch those videos that are like, how to draw a perfect nose. No, it's not going to help you in the long run, I promise you. It'll help you maybe understand the anatomy of the nose overall, sure.
Yeah.
Well, there's also something... There's also something to be said about those videos because they title them "How to Draw a Nose," but a more appropriate title would be how to draw a perfect nose. But a more appropriate title would be "Here's how I draw noses." And that's the thing, because I'm with you. I hate those videos. Like, oh, here's how you draw hair. Here's how you draw an eye. But it should be, here's how I do hair. Here's how I draw an eye. And because you always see that. It's always like, oh, this is just the way this person does it. And that I think, well, not only can it be wrong, that is definitely a way to end up just drawing like that person.
Yeah.
But then not still, because you're going to try putting a face together and your eye is going to be that person's work.
Yes, of course.
You're going to make up the rest of the face because you don't know how to put the face together in their style at all either. And it's just
what I mean is like, you never really got to, like in the case of the eye, you never really got to understand the eye.
Yeah,
And that's
a good
one of the things
example
that
is
I love
anime eyes,
about drawing.
right? If
Yeah.
you go in,
Yeah.
how to draw anime eyes, and that's where you start. You don't learn how a real eye works. You don't know how to apply it to a face. You don't know anything, and you're just drawing anime eyes because you're like, oh, they're pretty, they're cool,
Yeah.
and you find a
This
video
leads
on
a little
that.
bit into kind of philosophy and stuff like that, but I've always had this mentality that you can't draw something that you don't understand. And drawing is our way of understanding the world that surrounds us. And I know that gets like super deep. Like, oh my God,
That's
he's so
true. That's-
artsy.
Before the camera, they drew autopsies and medical things and all that because they couldn't document it any other way.
So
Yeah.
So when you learn how to draw eyes, for example, you are understanding eyes. You're understanding how an eye works. You're understanding the structure of the eye. And from there, you can make different types of eyes. You'll understand what makes an eye. If you just go to TikTok and go like, here's how I draw eyes, and you just do that, it's like,
They draw their
okay,
little
great.
almond shape with the pupil and the eyelid, and they call it a day.
Yeah.
Look, guys, you
just
can draw an eye
learned
too.
to move, like you just learn to move the pen the way they do. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you just learn to do
Yep.
the same thing they did with a pen. You never learned how to draw an eye. You just learned how to mimic what they did. And that can be, I guess that can be fun for some people, but I don't think there's a lot of value, like a lot of educational value in that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
And I do think another thing that will help you kind of choose who to learn from is focus first on fundamentals. Try to learn those on your own, on a course, on any class that you can find. Learn fundamentals. And then you can kind of see which artists use fundamentals well and which don't, because that's the problem with the whole TikTok thing, that I did see a lot of artists that lacked fundamentals, but they had like a huge following and they were like, no, you should learn from me. But you could see like their anatomy was really off, the values, and it's kind of noticeable when you learn it. And I know it's kind of paradoxical, but because you're like trying to learn, but if you don't know what the fundamentals are, it's complicated. But try, focus first on the fundamentals if you're like a beginner.
the fundamentals are not open to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
like, you can
Some
learn the
math.
fundamentals from many different
You've
places.
got your
Um,
numbers.
But to what you
Art
said,
is
for
the same.
example,
Yeah.
Mao, like a lot of times, I think it's very important for us to kind of consider why it is that you like this artist. Like, why are you listening to this artist? And but like we were talking about before the podcast, like the halo effect.
Yeah.
Okay, why do you like this artist? Do you like them because you think they are an amazing artist, or is it just because they're attractive? And hey, great. Like if you follow an artist because they're attractive, awesome, good for you, enjoy. But maybe just because a person's attractive doesn't mean they're a good artist. They might be fun to look at, but that doesn't mean they're a good artist. And that's the thing. Like, there are plenty of artists online that are just very entertaining, but not necessarily very good artists. Maybe you like the way they talk. Maybe you like the jokes they make. Maybe they're pretty. Maybe, like, so many different things that mean that, look at that. I mean, look at that piece of meat. Who would not? Like who would say no to that?
You guys are
That
making me
is-
wish I could grow a mustache, though. Like, really.
Oh.
I want to be like a mustache
Oh,
trio, and
hell
I have
yeah.
a little end.
But that's the thing. Like, understand why it is that you enjoy watching this person. And is it because you think that they are a great artist? There's like plenty of YouTube artists that I follow, and it has like, they're good at art, but maybe it's just like, oh my God, the production on that video, like, wow, this person really makes some great videos. What are
Yeah.
they drawing? I don't care. Like, look at that video. Or sometimes it's like, oh wow,
Their
what a
voice
voice!
lulls
Like
you
this,
into
oh
bliss.
yeah, this
Yeah.
voice can just put me to sleep, and it's great. But the advice, not that great. Sometimes it's just, oh my god, this person is so attractive. I'm just gonna mute it and look at them and stuff like that. And then you're gonna find the person that's like, oh, this is legitimately good stuff. And even then, like if they're not entertaining, it might be difficult. And stuff like that. One thing I would say to avoid, and I'm sorry who this hits. I'm not gonna name any names. One thing I would say to avoid is avoid any video that like promises that you're going to like level up immediately or instantly or fast. Avoid those. Those are not.
You're
First
not
of all,
gonna
they're
level
making
up
promises
fast.
they cannot
That
keep.
right there, yeah.
Yeah.
No one
And-
levels up
Yeah.
fast.
So whenever you come across a video that's like, oh, this one trick is gonna level up your art right away, and by the end of this video, you will be better. No, you won't. No, you won't. Like, no. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. That's not how none of this works.
Yeah.
And you see so many of those. Like, I also avoid. Maybe that's more of a personal thing. I avoid art roasting.
Oh yeah.
People that online artists that just grab people's art and kind of criticize it and trash it and stuff like that. And I know that the art that they're taking like was volunteered. I still don't care.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's nice. I don't care if they volunteered. I don't like it. So that's another one I would avoid. Like, avoid anybody that promises that you're going to improve fast. Avoid anybody that's roasting art. I wouldn't do that one either. Avoid anything that says this one trick. If it says this one trick in the title, just skip it.
Yeah.
Skip that. Hacks. Like if it says, oh, this hack. Like, no.
Yeah.
Avoid hacks, tricks, shortcuts, all those things. Look, bottom line is, learning is not always glamorous. It rarely ever is. It's not like, some of us are very glamorous, but learning isn't always so. And hey, if you want to be entertained, go be entertained. Watch some pretty people on the internet, and that's fun. But if you're gonna learn, come on, get serious, get to it. Don't like understand what it is you're looking for.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a great advice to finish the podcast today. It was very productive.
It was very productive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
So,
Did we say goodbye to our listeners? Have we done that?
Well,
before?
I mean, we could just shut the door in their faces and just